related to the advanced pedagogy as we are talking about that. So he'll be talking in deep, in details regarding this aspect, evaluation, assessment, and testing. With this, let us hand over the mic to the Dr. Shubin Mandal.
Okay, thank you, Professor Naskar. Good morning to everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Now I'm going to start. I cannot enter.
Already you have entered. You just click your PowerPoint presentation only.
No, share screen.
Share screen.
Then
share screen. Share screen and then share.
But it is coming like this.
Yeah, okay. Then you just go to your desktop.
Okay.
You go to your PowerPoint presentation.
It is okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I think good morning to everybody. Now today's topic, I think these three terms are known to you: assessment, evaluation, and testing. Before starting, I want to know what idea you have about these three terms, because then I will go for what is the main differences between these three terms. So can you tell what is assessment, what is evaluation, testing? Differences among these three terms: assessment, evaluation, and testing. Because these are very common terms, you have come across these terms. You just try whatever you think you know.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Huh?
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, audible.
Yeah, sir. If we will see with respect to the student prospectus, assessment means it is like sessional assessment or internal assessment which we are taking along with the student to check that whether they are understanding our things or not. Evaluation, I am considering it is like end term examination or the once semester end. So we evaluate that what kind of the performance they are getting in their exam. And the testing, once they will be reaching in their field, whether whatever the knowledge they have acquired through the institute, they are able to perform their duty or the task in their job place or not. So as per my understanding, sir, I have given.
Okay, you are
Sujit Kumar Garai.
Okay.
SKG
Okay. Any other point? Okay, these are correct, but I will tell you more accurate definitions and other things. You have told roughly, you have told the things which you know they are correct. Okay, but there are some very sometimes some of the features are there which are very confusing. So that will come. Okay, so now let me start. I will start like this in reverse order: testing, then assessment, then evaluation, because this is the, because everything. This is a very this is the initial thing. Afterwards, it comes to assessment or evaluation. So testing is the first step. So I'll start from testing, then assessment, then evaluation. Now testing, you know, you are taking all quizzes, class test, all testing. All these are all testing. So what is testing? It is a technique of obtaining information needed for evaluation purpose. What already you have told. So you want some information to evaluate the student. You want some information. So it is a technique of obtaining information. How you will get the information? You conduct a test, and how he has answered the question, for you are marking or you are commenting what type of mistakes are there. All these are coming. Okay. So the purpose of testing. So it is a technique of obtaining information needed for evaluation purposes. So test, quiz, measuring instruments are devices used to obtain such information. Here you remember this thing. Measuring instrument in this education or pedagogy is different from your physical instruments in laboratory, engineering or physics or chemistry. The type of instruments you have, they are physical instruments. Here, there you can tell logical instruments. That means some questions you are making, any question, set of questions, they are called instruments. You are asking some questions or you are giving some tests. These are called measuring instruments, because these are all you are testing their knowledge. So for that you are asking some questions. So here those are called the measuring instruments. So a test or quiz is used to examine. What you examine by a test? Two things. One is knowledge and another is skill. So we test or quiz is used to examine someone's knowledge of something, to determine whether she has learned or not, or how much she has learned. So testing measures the level of skill or knowledge. Any physical skill, how much you have developed, or knowledge, how much you have acquired. So the purpose of testing is to measure what level you have achieved in skill or knowledge. If it is a practical this thing, then we go for skill test. Otherwise, knowledge, theoretical things, knowledge. So what level the student has reached, to test that, we want to test that, we want to measure that. For that, this is the testing, and for testing, some instruments are there. You take class test, quizzes, these are called, actually, the process of using these things is called testing, and these are called instruments, measuring instruments. So an instrument or systematic procedure for measuring a sample of behavior. Now, in test, actually, we measure a sample of behavior. Can you tell what is the meaning of this term, sample of behavior? What is the meaning? Testing, any test, an instrument or systematic procedure. Test is what is the test? An instrument or systematic procedure for measuring a sample of behavior. What is the meaning of this? Sample of behavior. Can you tell? Sample of behavior.
It is a particular population, for that we are measuring this?
No. It is, suppose you have, I am telling you theoretical subjects. Suppose in a particular subject, you have read 10 chapters. Okay. In the test or examination, how many questions you can ask? Can you ask from all chapters, all sections? Can you do that? Suppose whole semester you are taught a subject. Suppose you teach a subject for the whole semester, a particular paper. Can you give questions from all chapters? Suppose if you think that, okay, to test that, some lengthy questions I will ask from each chapter. Is it possible? It is not possible.
No, sir.
Because in examination, you have some time limitation. Okay. So you have to select some, you have to decide some questions from chapters, maybe some chapters which are more important. From that, you ask some bigger questions. And suppose some chapters which are not so important or very fundamental or already they know, those chapters you can ask some objective type questions, so that you can sample the whole syllabus. So it is the sample of the whole syllabus. So sample of behavior means, here behavior means when I ask any question to a student, you will be able to answer. So the sample of behavior means how the student will answer. So if we ask from the whole syllabus, I cannot ask him. I have to select some portion. I have to take samples. And from that, I will tell that if after the sample, because you are making a question paper from the syllabus, that is the sample. And from that test or examination, you tell that student has learned well or not. Is it okay? So this is the sample of behavior. That's why I call, because question paper doesn't contain all the questions of the subject paper. Some selected, we select from different chapters, some portions, and make the question paper. That's why it is the sample. Behavior means the student will be able to answer the question. They should know the whole syllabus. How we will test? You cannot ask them the whole syllabus. So you make a question paper and make questions from different chapters of different weightages. Some are lengthy, 3 marks, 5 marks, 10 marks, like that. And that way you make a sample. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes,
Do you
sir.
have any question? Huh?
Yes, sir.
So this is called sample of behavior. This question actually samples the whole syllabus. Okay. Now sample may be biased. Suppose sometimes what happened in earlier days, it used to happen that from the whole syllabus, only from 5 chapters questions come in every year. Other 5 chapters, very small amount. So students know that those 5 chapters need not read. These first 5 chapters they read. So this way what happens? This is biased. So it cannot, this cannot be a sample of behavior. Whole syllabus, whole subject is not judged how he has learned. Okay, so this is about the sample of behavior. So tests do not hurt learners. Sometimes earlier it happened that, okay, for a particular college, it may happen that, okay, teacher is angry with some batch, so frame some difficult questions and they get less numbers of some students fail. It used to happen earlier. Nowadays, it is not possible because all under universities are happening. So, however, people who use test can badly hurt the learners. Okay. Well, suppose questions, earlier days, this used to happen. Sometimes the, suppose questions, political questions were framed by some chief engineer, and sometimes it goes outside the syllabus, and it used to create problem in the students and their performance also. But nowadays all are systematic, so that doesn't happen. So tests do not, this is not the purpose to hurt the learners. The test is merely a tool, and like any tool, it must be used. It must be used properly. So here one example is there. A carpenter has cabinets. Now, can he make the file cabinets with saw? suppose hacksaw and an X. Can he do that? No. He requires some special instruments. Otherwise, he cannot make it, and even if he makes it, he cannot sell it. So, for every purpose, there are some specific tools. Those tools you have to use. A test can be considered a kind of class of measurement device typically used to find out something about a person. So, here in this pedagogy or in education, we are actually skill or knowledge of person we are testing. So kind of class of measurement device to measure his knowledge or skill. It is a kind of measuring device in which person provides sample of his or her behavior. So you make a question, or in the practical test you give a particular experiment or particular activity or particular task to do. How they are doing, from that you decide whether he knows or not. The words inventory, questionnaire, opinionaire, scale, these are all different instruments. These instruments, these are called tests. So a test is a method of measuring a person's ability or knowledge. Ability means this ability to do something. It may be physical, suppose computing ability, or some physical ability to operate some machines, operate some instrument, or disassemble some instrument, assemble some instrument, like that. And knowledge, you already know the theoretical knowledge. Now, next step is measurement. What is measurement? What is measurement? Can you tell what is measurement?
Approximate the unknown quantity is measurement.
Measurement is actually you have some, suppose you have any scale. With scale you measure some length, okay, or many other instruments are there. So measurement is actually assigning some value. Suppose a length is given, unknown length is given. How you measure? You put the scale on that, and on the marked scale, you see where the end of the object matches. So that is the length of that unknown object, okay, new object. So that means by that scale, you are assigning a number to that unknown length. That is called measurement. So this definition is the process of obtaining a numerical description of the degree to which an individual process possesses a particular characteristics. How much? Okay. So when you are measuring length, angle, suppose mass, you are measuring mass or weight. So you put that on a particular balance and you adjust it, and then you tell that this unknown weight value is this much. Okay. So you assign some number. For assigning that number, you are using some instrument. So this assignment is called measurement. Is it clear? So measurement, the work to which these tools are designed, is simply one of many ways to evaluate children. Okay, so this is the measurement. Measurement permits more objective description, because in measurement you give numerical value. Just see here, this is very useful because when we compare two things, this measurement is very useful, and comparison becomes very accurate. See here, the saying that Monisha is underweight for her age and height. This is a statement, but this statement can be more more specific and accurate. This is a bit vague statement. Thus saying that Monisha is underweight for her age and height. So this is your judgment, you tell something, but other people cannot understand what is what. But if you tell that Monisha is 16 years old and 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighs only 85 pounds. From here you can tell that okay, if a girl has this much of years age and this much of tall, then how much will be the weight, or vice versa. So there may be a chart. From that you can tell that okay, she is underweight or overweight or like that. What is the normal weight? It can be given. So from that you can easily make it. But it is a general conclusion by some person. You cannot make out. Or if you want to compare, suppose Kishore is more intelligent than Saurabh. How much more you don't know. But if you tell that Kishore has measured IQ of 125 and Saurabh has measured IQ of 88, that means so much is there. His IQ is much more than 88. So in each case, the numerical statement is more precise and more objective. So this is the purpose of measurement. You give some numerical value, assign some numerical value. So that way it is very useful and we can measure. Now, here just one term I want to use. This is not exactly in this topic, but as sometimes you will come across. Uh, just I want to ask you, do you know what is instructional objective? Instructional objective or learning outcome? Do you know? Can anybody tell what is learning outcome or learning objective or instructional objective?
Learning outcome will be something that the student will be able to do after studying a particular topic.
Very good. Here just few slides I will spend on this to clarify this, because sometimes we use this term objective. That's why I have brought it. Otherwise, in other sessions, probably they will discuss, they have discussed or they will discuss later. So just 2 slides I am spending on this. Objectives and specific statements. Objectives are specific statements of what is to be accomplished and how well, and are expressed in terms of quantifiable, measurable outcomes. So an objective is an intended outcome. That means what you intend, what you want of learners, for learners, students. From students, what you expect. That is, so a statement is used to express that is called instructional objective. Objectives are generally observable, hence measure and measurable terms. Observable means we can observe that he can do, or he has achieved the objective. We can observe that and we can measure that. So they serve as a description of the intended behavior. And normally in objective, there are 3 parts are there. One is what it has to do. That means performance, standard of performance, and one is performance, another is standard of performance, another is condition. Okay. Here one example is given of the objective. This is an objective. When given a list of 10 engineering materials, the student should be able to supply the applications for at least 9 of them. This is the objective. In this objective, 3 parts are there. When given a list of 10 engineering materials, this is called the condition statement. Under what condition the student has to perform? That means student is given a list of 10 engineering materials, and what student has to do? He has to, what performance he has to do? That to supply the application of the engineering materials. And what is the standard quality? When you tell that, yes, he knows at least 9 of them, he is able to tell. Then we tell that, okay, he has achieved the objective. So this is the very general way I have told, because normally the objectives which you come across, normally these parts are not there. Only the performance part is there. These are silent. We don't write. That's why it is so lengthy objective. But I am telling ideally, this is the ideal condition, that ideal condition, that three parts should be there. One is the performance, one is the standard of performance quality, another is under which condition he has to do. Okay. So instructional objective normally are more difficult, because here one example I am giving, that suppose there is a showroom, and showroom, it has an objective to sell vehicles of rupees 500 crores in the month of December. So it is very straightforward process to determine whether the objective is achieved or not. A very easy, because whether sold or not, money has come or not, from that you can directly tell that, so money is directly observable. And in contrast, if a educational objective, just see, a student will be able to, after completion of this class, student will be able to write complete sentences. Now to judge this, to write the objective for this, you see that what are the things to consider? It is more complicated. That means the student will be able to write complete sentence. It is not directly observable. You have to do something to see this, to make it observable. So what you will do, whether students can write complete sentences and whether they have acquired this ability in the result of instruction. Suppose you want that in this class, I have instructed them. So due to that, he has learned how to write sentences. Whether before the class, he already knew how to write sentences, then it has no meaning. So that you have to test. Okay. So that means if he doesn't know anything earlier, now after this class he has learned something, then you can tell that means objective is in this class he has learned something, acquired this ability. As a result of instruction, the first is must be determined what behavior performance will constitute sufficient evidence that desired ability exists. In case of writing complete sentence, next thing is, how will judge he can write complete sentences? You have to ask him to write complete sentences. How many complete sentences he will write? You have no unlimited time, 100 sentences you cannot ask. So you can tell that, okay, 5 sentences he will write. So it might be decided, however, if a student can write 5 complete sentences, it will be accepted that he has that desired capability. So whether a capability is acquired or learned as a result of instruction can only be determined by observing performance at 2 different points in time. That means before the instruction and after the instruction, you have to see the change of behavior. Then only you can tell that he has learned it or not. That's why sometimes in our courses also, at the beginning of the program, a test is done, and at the end of the program, another test is done. So whether the participants have learned anything or not, from that difference they can make out. Okay. So this is about instructional objective. Now I am going to assessment. Next item, that is measurement, then assessment. Assessment. What is assessment? It is a process of collecting information or evidence of a learner's learning progress and achievement. Whether learner is learning, that means there is progress in learning. Okay. Progress in learning and achievement over a period of time. Okay. That means suppose for particular time he has learned something. Now you want to see whether he has learned or not. So you have to collect information or evidence. Okay. So this is the assessment, is the process of collecting information and evidence over a period of time in order to improve teaching or learning. It is actually process oriented. The teaching process you want to improve. So whether they are learning or not, what are the difficulties. So assessment is typically used to describe processes to examine or measure student learning that results from academic program. Okay. So in assessment, what are the processes? Assessment is the systematic. So this is the definition. Assessment is the systematic collection, analysis, and interpretation of information. So you take a test, then you analyze, then you interpret. Okay, interpret, okay, how much he has done, why he has not done, then what are his problems, what type of mistakes are there, all comments you are making, interpret. So in assessment, these three things should be there. First thing is systematic collection of data, then you analyze it, then you have to interpret. Then what is the meaning? After analysis, you interpret. What is the meaning of it? What is the significance? And how it can be utilized. So only if you interpret in this thing, then you can use it. Next is the assessment is used to evaluate the educational progression, whether a student is progressing or not. That he has to make and guide us in decision-making routine. Suppose teacher is teaching, but the students are not performing well. So teacher has to see where is the problem. So or should he change his teaching method? Suppose you are teaching, suppose this year also you are teaching a particular subject in the same manner as the last year. But if the student cannot follow, they are not performing well in the class test. So you find that the students are relatively, most of the students are weaker. They cannot perform well. Last batch was better. Average standard was better. So you have to change your method. You cannot, so you have to give them some more information, more notes. You have to solve more problems, or you have to go slow. Maybe you have to take some extra classes like that. So there is a great amount of quantitative and qualitative complexity with assessment. Actually, uh, in assessment, it is not that all are test and getting marks and not that. Even qualitative things may also happen. By seeing the students, their behavior, you can also make out. Okay. So that is also coming under this assessment. It may be quantitative, that means standard test and some values, marks are there, or qualitative. That means you just by seeing or talking with them or observing their behavior, suppose in the laboratory, how they are working, whether they are doing attentively or they are doing mistakes or not. From that, you can make out whether they are learning or not. Okay. So these are all qualitative. Assessment does not dictate decision to us, it aids us. And it is an ongoing process. Okay. Assessment is ongoing process because when a teaching process is going on, after some intervals, we go for assessing, we collect data, whether the student is improving or not. It is a continuous process. Whether the evaluation is one point, process, 1 point activity. That means particular point you take exam and then you conclude something. But here assessment is a continuous. You go on doing after equal intervals. You test, class test, quiz, interaction, like that you can make out. So these are coming under assessment, and purpose includes providing, and you are giving feedback to the students also. If the students have some problem, you are giving them feedback about the progress. Assessment includes but also transcends simple measurement. So it is more than measurement. Assessment is more than measurement. Assessment is not based on one test or one task, nor it is expressed by mark or grade, by rather a report on which the scales or levels as well as description or comment from the teacher is given. So not only marks, but other type of description, teacher's observation, everything come in the, it is like a report, it comes in the assessment.
Sir,
Please.
sir, normally when we do assessment, it transforms into marks only, because
But I am telling,
how to quantify, how
you
to
can
quantify them, because
quantify
qualitatively,
means suppose you give marks, but student cannot understand where is the problem. If you can find out that what particular problem the student has, so you can tell, you practice this thing, due to this you have these problems in doing this thing, you practice this particular activities, you practice more. Probably for this you have these mistakes, or you are slow, or like that, if you can make out those things.
so
Sometimes it
yeah, so it
please.
is mainly for giving an indication to the student about his
Students,
progress.
and also your own feedback, that whether I have to change my teaching method, or I have to do something. I told you that some batch is weaker batch. Last year the batch was good, or last few years you got good batches. This year some weaker batch. So how to handle that? Same way, if you teach, they cannot follow. So
Okay, sir.
you have to change the strategy. So if from the beginning you get the data that they cannot follow, they have some problem, then you change your strategy. You give more. Actually, this type of things happen. Uh, Especially this, I have seen this in IITs. What happens in PG classes? Some special papers are there. Okay, special papers. Some BTech students are also attending this class, and MTech students from other engineering colleges are also attending the class. Okay. Or even suppose IIT students also come for MTech, outside engineering college also come for MTech. Some paper which is taught in IIT, but in other college it is not taught. Now, some part of that particular paper it comes to outside college students don't know. So then what will teacher do? The teacher tells that, okay, I will take some extra classes to explain these things. You read these from these books, these chapters, like that. So these are the things I'm doing. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now, what are the types of assessment? Formative assessment and summative assessment. Formative assessment means if you use in between assessment when you are doing, the process is going on. Suppose one semester is going on. So in between assessment, suppose every month you are doing some assessment. These are called formative assessment, because in between you give feedback to the student, you modify your teaching, or you take care of all those things. So it is formation. That means how the learning process, you can tell a formation process, they are learning some things. So it is a formative assessment. That means, but when you come to the end, or in between, suppose after half of this semester, then you call, because already half of the process is done. So there it is called summative assessment. That means overall on that, for that portion, overall you tell something, reporting some. Still you have some feedback you can give for the rest of the semester. Okay, so that way you can give. So one is in between, another is middle or end of the semester. These are called summative assessment. You are giving. Actually, this is assessment focus on process. Process, that means learning process. How you are teaching, how students are learning. So, but evaluation is on the product. I will come later. What is the difference? So formative assessment, when teachers use it to check the progress of their students, to see how far they have mastered, what they should have learned, and then use this information to modify their future teaching plans. So this is the formative assessment. Okay. And informal assessment is a part of formative. Informal assessment, I was telling, not any formal test. It can take a number of forms: unplanned comments, verbal feedback to students, observing students perform a task, work in small groups, all these things. These are called informal. Informal assessment also may come within the formative assessment. Okay, so self-checks, discussion, stations, observation, all these are coming formative assessment. And summative assessment at the end of the term, semester, or year, in order to measure what has been achieved both by groups and by individuals. Formal assessment is part of summative assessment, that is exercise or procedures which are systematic and give students or teachers an appraisal of students' achievement. So this is summative assessment. Formative assessment, for example, can be used to provide feedback to improve learning, to motivate students, diagnose students' strength or weakness, diagnosis, then help students to reflect critically on their own learning. This is the purpose of formative assessment. And summative assessment, pass or fail, grade, rank, predict a student's success in other courses or employment. So these are about assessment. Assessment there are another assessment normally using classroom assessment. Classroom assessment provides relatively simple form of formative assessment. So it is a process of critical inquiry and analysis that instructors use to assess students' learning with an eye on the impact of their teaching. This is the thing. It is moreover it is student centered. It is not that, okay, teacher is doing whatever he thinks. It is student centered. He is careful about the students, everything for student. So it is student centered, teacher directed, mutually beneficial. Mutually beneficial means it helps in student learning, student difficulty they can find out. You can modify the teaching strategy method. That way students learn better, teaching becomes better. This is the purpose. Rather than simply assuming that students are learning, so instructor use or teachers use classroom assessment to assess their students. Okay, so collecting frequent feedback and asking critical questions. You can take test or you can just ask critical question to gauge student comprehension, skill acquisition or application of materials like that. This is about classroom assessment. And now reliability of assessment. Any test or reliability means your student is assessed, he has given the feedback, but he is frustrated. He tells that I know this thing, but the teacher, what he has assessed is not correct. Some weaker student is highlighted, is shown as has better performance, but I am doing well. The assessment is not correct or it is defective or something. That is called reliability. Reliability refers to extent which the results of the assessment method can be trusted. If the student doesn't trust that, okay, what teacher is doing, I don't know. I am doing well, but teacher is giving me less marks or is telling it is not proper. So lack of reliability or consistency of marking or grading has contribution to the students' lack of confidence in marking system, particularly as wide discrepancies can occur in individual cases. So assessment by different examinees produces marks with part played. Okay, so this is about reliability. Although marking can sometimes be reasonably reliable, accuracy depends on hypothetical mark that might be obtained in the marks given by a large number of marks. Normally it is not done, but particular cases, the same paper is sent to number of examiners, same paper. And suppose three examiners give 3 marks, then you average this, then you will get more reliable marks. And there is no actually absolute mark, but this way you can tell that more reliable. Three examiners have given marks. If there is some very large discrepancy, then again it is a problem with the evaluators. But if they are consistent, then you can tell that it is a more reliable assessment. Validity of assessment is that means you are assessing something you are assessing something, you want to assess something, but ultimately you are assessing something else. Just a good example is, suppose you're in the laboratory examination or any examination. Your question paper is very tough. English is very tough. Student has difficulty in comprehending the questions to answer so that they can answer the question. So what happens? Your assessment is to assess the knowledge of the subject, but you are also assessing their comprehension of English. Okay. So here the validity, this is called validity. That your purpose of assessment is to assess the knowledge of the subject, but you are also assessing the comprehension of English. So this is one thing. So validity of assessment refers to the meaning and value of assessment and the extent to which the assessment methods reflect student learning and the learning goals of the course. Lack of validity arises if student cannot clearly see or understand the connection to the rest of the course, or if learning objectives and teaching approaches. So if they don't understand that how you are testing, what you are teaching, how you are marking, or what is the instructional objectives, if there is no if there is discrepancy among these things, then it is not the lack of validity, then students will be frustrated. Reliability and validity both may be improved by encouraging students to reflect more fully on their approaches and interpretation of marking. And validity is defined as the extent to which the assessment accurately measures what is intended to measure. That means in validity, what you actually want to measure, that you are not measuring, you are measuring something else. So that is the lack of validity. Validity means the assessment process assesses what it claims to assess. That means suppose it is to assess some particular unit of competency or cluster of units. So the assessment tool must address all the requirements. Validity gives meaning to the test score. Validity evidence indicates that there is a linkage between the test performance and the job performance. Job performance, suppose for practical case, in the job, what type of performance will be there and what is the test performance. If anybody does good performance in the test, it indicates that he will be able to do good in the performance, in the actual job also he will be able to do the good performance. If this linkage is there, then we call it is a valid is there. Otherwise, test is giving good marks, but the student cannot perform well in the actual case. So here the lack of validity is there. Validity, there are types. These are very different types of validity as there. Face validity. That means from the test, it appears that what it wants to measure, whether it is measuring or not. That is called face validity. Concurrent validity is ability to distinguish between groups that it should theoretically be able to distinguish between groups. Content validity is the particular subject or task, what you are doing, whether it is from that domain or not. That means content which you are testing, that content is matching or not. And predictive validity is in future, this validity can tell, okay, this in the future, this score can reflect that in future the student will be able to do well or not in particular area. Now we are going to evaluation. What is evaluation? It is a systematic process of collecting, analyzing, and interpreting information. See, these are all similar to the assessment, but difference is here to determine the extent to which the pupils are achieving instructional objectives. That means what is the goal of the instruction? Has it is object, how good it has achieved, answer the question how good it has achieved. Has it achieved the instructional objectives or not? But there, in assessment, our focus was the process, the improvement of the process, quality of the process, how the students are learning, how to improve, get feedback, all these things. But here it is no question of improving or nothing. Here only, have you achieved or not? What was your goal? Have you achieved the goal or not? That is the thing. This is the evaluation. Evaluation is the systematic process of collecting, analyzing data in order to make decisions. And ultimately, we make some decision, pass, fail, or other thing. Many decisions we take. So on that basis, it is used. Evaluation is much more comprehensive and inclusive term than measurement and testing. So it is more comprehensive. Many things can come in the evaluation, and it is very broad actually. Evaluation can be done for many things that I'll come later. Evaluation may include both quantitative description and qualitative description. Evaluation always include value judgment concerning the desirability of the result. Value judgment means you measure, you get the marks, then you have to conclude something that he has failed, passed, good, excellent, like that. So some judgment you have to give. So in evaluation, there should be a judgment. Evaluation occurs in one moment in time. It is not a continuous process. One moment, and involves both quantitative and qualitative. Measurement of strength and weaknesses of given programs, teaching methods, all aspects can be included in the measurement. Evaluation is successful, it will determine the match between the intended outcome and actual performance. That means what was your objective and what you have achieved. If they match, then you can tell that evaluation is successful. Evaluation of a program considers not only student learning, but also research activity, community service, cost effectiveness, all these things. So it is a process. So evaluation is a process of overall judgment about one's work or whole institute's work. So evaluation is typically broader concept than assessment. Okay, so it is overall, focuses on overall. Many aspects are covered in the evaluation. Assessment and evaluation, what is the difference? When we assess, our students are commonly interested in how and how much our students have learned. Assessment is how and how much our students have learned, how well they have learned, how much they have learned. But when we evaluate them, we are how the learning process is. But when we evaluate, we are concerned with how the learning process is developing. So how well, that means we are concerned with the goal, whether we have achieved or not, how well, how the learning process is developing, whether they have learned or not. Here some, in a chart form, we have shown the assessment evaluation differences. Content is, it is a formative, but evaluation is summative. Orientation is, it is a process oriented. Assessment is process, how learning is going on, but it is a product oriented. What have been learned, that is the focus. Then finding uses, their uses of it is a diagnostic. Sorry. It is diagnostic, identify areas of improvement. But here in case of judgmental, arrive at an overall grade or score. Judgmental. So here judgment, here diagnostic. What is the problem? How to improve? All these things. But in case of evaluation, judgmental. Have you arrived or not? Have you achieved the goal or not? That is the findings. What is the purpose? To improve the quality here, to determine the quality. That means present performance. Is the quality is good or not? Here to improve the quality. So it goes on, continuous process. And Okay, so these are SSC who request performs. These are all. Then when can feedback occur? During or after? Here also during and after a performance. And what is feedback based? Here observations and strongest and weakest points are actually covered. Here level of quality based on a set standard. There is some standard whether we have achieved it or not. What is included in the report? What made the quality of the performance strong? How might one improve? But here, quality of the performance often compared to set standards. What is the quality? That's all. Receive the report. Okay, so these are now there are different types of testing. Two types of testing is there. One is norm reference test, another is criterion reference test. Norm reference test, I think NRT, we call NRT and CRT. Maybe some of you have heard these terms. Norm reference test, criterion reference test. What is norm reference test? Norm reference test relate to one candidate's performance to that of other candidates. Relative performance. A norm. How this term has come? Just see here. A student place or rank compared to other students is revealed by norm reference test. Many psychology or IQ tests are like this, non-reference test, because probably when they prepared the norm, they have from the population, they surveyed lot of students, lot of uh, people they took and they compared their intelligence and they ranked it and they gave some value particular. So those tests are given to now that norm, that is the norm that they decide and they keep it. Now they have different types of tests. So any new person want to find his intelligence. So what happens? They have some set test. They know that okay, these tests, if anybody attains this mark, then his intelligence is this. If he gets this mark, that they have already by a very huge survey they have made it. Now any person they want to do, they give that particular test, get the number, and they compare with that, and then they tell that okay, his intelligence is like this much. So this is called NRT, norm reference test. Okay, this norm is, it is named because it compares a student performance to that of a norm group, a large representative sample of learners. This is made sometime. So this is a big survey from that they made. So such information is useful when you need to compare a learner's performance to that of others at the same age or grade level. Normally, we compare, okay, 6 years age, some particular test he gives, from that they can make, okay, what is his IQ? So from that score, they can make out what will be his IQ. So it measures a validity of specific and general skills at once, but it cannot measure them thoroughly. So this is a very variety of specific and general skills, but very subject-wise, detailed detailed test cannot be done here. With NRT results, you are not sure, as you are with CRT results, that the students have mastered the individual skills. Actually, CRT, all our qualifying exams are all coming under CRT. So each skill is usually tested by less than 4 items. 4 items means 4 questions, and items vary in difficulty. Normally, this NRT, there are different types of questions are there, difficult time, normal type, all this. Items are selected between high and low achievers. Okay. The purpose of criterion reference testing is to, now we are going to criterion reference test. Norm reference test. Norm reference is it is a relative performance. That means one norm is there already the norm is made from earlier survey. Now a particular person appear for a test, and from his performance, he can be given some ranking, he can some rank. What is his performance, we can be added. Uh, it is by comparing with that particular reference norm. Okay, so norm is made some particular way. So norm, but CRT is particular criterion is there. Criterion means okay, these things if he can do 75% of this, then okay, if it is not, can do 80% of this, like that. Some criterion is there. A skill test can be like that. The purpose of criterion different testing is to classify people according to whether or not they are able to perform some task or set of tasks. So a student's level of proficiency in or mastery of a skill is revealed by criterion reference test. It is named because it compares a student performance with an absolute standard. It is not relative. No, you are not relative. Just, okay, question is there. How much you can answer? 75% if you answer 75%. Like that. So such information helps one to decide whether a student needs more instruction or alternative instruction. So this criterion reference test, our qualifying exams are criterion reference test. What is criterion reference test? Must be specific to yielding information about individual skills. With a specific test of individual skills, one can relatively certain his students have either mastered or failed. He can do. However, the major disadvantage of these CRTs are necessary to make decision about multitude of skills taught in average classroom. So each student is tested by at least 4 items in order to obtain an adequate sample of student performance and to minimize the effect of guessing. Actually, this is more specific and more accurate, the criterion reference test. The items which test any given skill are parallel in difficulty. That means, suppose to test a particular thing, suppose 4 questions are there, they will have same difficulty level. That means their hardness will be same. A study score usually expresses a percentage student achievement is reported for individual skill. Now we are going to, what are the different types of evaluation? There may be student evaluation, then curriculum evaluation, school evaluation, evaluation of large population, special projects and programs and person. These are the different types of evaluation. Student evaluation you already know. Curriculum evaluation I am coming. Student evaluation, when we think of student evaluation, so think of achievement. That means whether student has achieved something, has learned something. So for achievement purpose to evaluate the student evaluation there, how much is the achievement of the student? To find out the achievement, we use the student evaluation. Other variables include aptitude test, intelligence test, personality test, attitude test. All are coming. These may be different student evaluation. Tests both standardized and teacher made are administered. Standardized
एक
means
टेबल अलका मैम के पास है, एक टेबल उधर हर एक लैब में बैठा
Hey,
टेबल
please.
बटा हुआ है, वही टेबल है, डॉन टेबल ना, तो वही लिया हुआ है अभी, सबको निकाल लीजिए। अलका मैम के पास एक है, एक आई थिंक जो भी नए फैकल्टी है ना, सबको नया टेबल, थोड़ा टेबल भी मिला सबको, बड़ा टेबल खत्म हो गया है, जितने भी नए फैकल्टी है सबका टेबल नहीं,
इसमें फाइनल का टीपीओ फाइनल करके लिखा
Hey, don't talk, please. Please mute yourself. Okay, so other variables are aptitude, intelligence, personality, attitude. These are the different tests, student evaluation. Now, data obtained are recorded on teachers' records and guide files, which include, of course, ever popular cumulative folder. Okay, so student evaluation teachers can record these different information on the students, detail all types of, because they may be quantitative, qualitative, all types of information. Not all subsequent decisions relate to directly to the student. A teacher uses performance data not only to evaluate student, but also to evaluate her or his instruction. Then curriculum evaluation is there. Curriculum evaluation involves evaluation of any instructional program, even instructional materials, even textbooks. If you evaluate the textbook for a particular course, it will be coming under curriculum evaluation. Curriculum evaluation may involve evaluation of total package, particular program. How if a new program it is started. So if you want to evaluate it, all things, how is the teaching, what is the syllabus, what are the teaching methods, what are the laboratories, all, everything, all aspects if you want to evaluate. So this is coming under curriculum evaluation. Curriculum evaluation is usually associated with innovation, a new different approach, maybe new teaching method you can evaluate. Okay, new course, new program, like this. Examples of general approaches include, okay, different teaching methods like program instruction, individualized instruction, open space concept, computer assisted instruction, computer managed instruction, multimedia instruction. So you suppose you use this instruction method. Now you want to see the effect. This is coming under curriculum evaluation. School evaluation for school, every aspect of the school, how the school is not only student performance, how is the teaching, what are the strength and weakness of the program, what is the curriculum, every aspect, administration, resources, all aspects if you want to evaluate, it is coming under school evaluation or any institutional evaluation. All our NB and other things are actually coming under this type of evaluation. This is evaluation. And large population evaluation means, suppose for a particular state, particular group of students government wants to do some assessment, some study. These are coming under large population, involve assessing current status and the educational progress of large number of students, typically distributed over a large geographical area. This type of evaluation includes state-wise assessment programs as well as efforts involving national samples, like that. Then evaluation of special projects or programs also, any projects you are doing or any programs, new programs you are doing. So these are also evaluation coming under this evaluation. Evaluation of personnel, particular personnels can be evaluated. Suppose particular institution or particular state, counselors, administrators, you want to evaluate. That is called evaluation of particular category of people. So this is called evaluation of personnel. Now we are going to evaluation procedures, basis of measurement achievement. Okay, so two types of thing. One is type of test or evaluation, maximum performance and typical performance. Uh, uh, can you tell something about this? Have you heard these two terms? Maximum performance and typical performance. Maximum performance and typical performance. Can anybody tell? What does it mean? Okay, I am explaining. Maximum performance is if you are motivated to perform well, what is your maximum performance? How best you can perform? Procedures used to determine a person's abilities concerned with how well an individual performs when motivated to put forth his or her best effort. That is the evaluation results indicate what an individual can do. Aptitude or achievement tests are included in this category. All your standard examination, student get prepared and they try to acquire maximum marks. They try to so this is all in achievement test. So this is maximum performance test. Student try to perform maximum. How well he can get, he to get prepared and he goes and before the exam, the student tries hard, studies hard, and tries to, and also teachers also motivates them. Okay, you can do well, no problem. Students are also motivated, and whatever performance they give, that is the maximum performance. Suppose a mediocre student, even if you are motivated, he has some limit. So that is the some maximum performance limit is there. Beyond that, he cannot do. So this is called maximum performance. And typical performance is typically what you do normally. Normally, if you are not motivated or pressurized, so what you will do, that is called typical. Because some people are very sincere, they are always sincere. Some people are lazy. If they are not under pressure, they are not perform well. So this is a typical performance. So procedures includes those designed to reflect a person's typical behavior. How well the individual usually behave in normal routine situations. How does the individual usually behave in normal routine situations? So results in this area tend to indicate what an individual will do rather than what he can do. Here is an example. An individual with ability to drive an automobile safely may typically drive an automobile safely, may typically drive in an unsafe manner. Very, very careless fellow. He can do, he has the capability, but his attitude is not good. So he's very careless and he drives the automobile unsafe manner. What happens?
না না এটা রোজ দিন না আমি অফিসের টাইমে আপনি এই জায়গাটায় দাঁড়ালে কি হবে?
Please,
সামনে চলুন যাবেন
please
না
mute. Please mute. Safely, so may typically drive an automobile safely. He can do.
আরে,
But why you are talking?
Please mute yourself. Why you are disturbing others?
So what happens? Unsafe manner. So here the attitude is there. So this is a typical performance. That means if he is not under pressure, he will drive the automobile in unsafe manner. So this is the typical performance. Now I am going to this evaluation techniques can be classified into different types according to use in classroom instruction. One is placement evaluation, formative evaluation, summative evaluation, and diagnostic evaluation. Placement evaluation is placement. What is placement evaluation? Suppose there are different sections. Okay, students have, suppose a new course you are going to start. Now you want to know that, okay, these students are there. I want to distribute among different classes according to their strength. Suppose strength means according to, if good students will be in one section and weaker students should be in another section, so that when we teach, the teaching method can be adjusted. That is called placement evaluation. That means you evaluate the students and make you for later instruction groups. Next is the formative evaluation. Formative evaluation, like assessment also, that when the teaching is going on, the information which is there that can be used for improvement. And diagnostic evaluation is if the students have some difficulty. So some evaluation is special type of evaluation is done to find out why he is not able to learn in spite of different different ways the teacher tries to improve the learning, but he doesn't learn. Then there is some problem. So he tries to find out the problem by some diagnostic evaluation. It is a special type of test. And summative evaluation is at the end of the semester when you are going for grading, that is summative evaluation. Already I have discussed about these two. So just two new things: placement evaluation. Goal of placement evaluation to determine the position of the instructional sequence and mode of instruction that is most likely. It uses variety of techniques: readiness test, aptitude test, then pre-test of course objectives. These are called placement evaluation. Why you are talking so much? Then formative evaluation, already I told you that a formative evaluation used to monitor the learning progress during instruction by providing continuous feedback. And feedback to pupils provides reinforcement of successful learning and identifies the specific learning errors. Next is diagnostic evaluation. Already I have told you. Diagnostic evaluation is concerned to persistent and recurring learning difficulties. If you have learning difficulties, so for that, for corrective action, we find out this, what are the difficulties of the student. To find out that, we special type of evaluation is done that is called diagnostic evaluation. And summative evaluation is typically comes at the end of the course. It is designed to determine to what extent the instructional objectives have been achieved, how much they have learned. The main purpose of summative evaluation is grading, certification of student achievement. It also provides information for judging the appropriateness of the course objectives. Whether, if they are not learning, whether course objectives are okay or not. And the effectiveness instruction, that is also can be done. Though main purpose of this summative evaluation is grading and certification, to give certificates. Then there are main reasons for test is main types of achievement test, progress test, diagnostic test, placement test, proficiency test, aptitude test. There are different types of tests. So achievement test already in this normally what you are doing. That means you are teaching something and then you take a test whether they have learned it or not, whether they have achieved or not, achieved something, they have learned it or not. That is called achievement test. So an achievement test is a test of developed skill or knowledge, whether the students have got the knowledge, they have learned the thing what you wanted to teach them. That is called achievement test. The usual test class is often standardized test. Okay. Achievement can occur in variety of ways. Here are some examples of achievement test. It may be theoretical or practical. Improving skill handling apparatus. Suppose in laboratory, particularly apparatus, whether he can handle properly or not, that skill. So you one experiment, one task you can give, that how to handle the apparatus. Okay. How to open, how to start, like that, handling. How to switch on this thing, how to take the reading, then how to stop it, how to close it, and how to keep it in proper place. So improving skills in handling apparatus. Increasing knowledge, such as learning the different parts of an optical instrument. Learning any theoretical knowledge. Increasing understanding, such as prediction of outcome under a given set of conditions. So these are achievement test. And Achievement test as a proficiency test used to ascertain what and how much has been learned and how well a task can be performed. So the focus being on evaluation of the part without reference to the future. So here in achievement test, no question of future. Whatever you have learned, whether you have learned it or not, progress test, assess progress, whether students are progressing or not, that you want to test. Then diagnostic test, test include progress. So
সেটা হচ্ছে তোমার অনলাইন টেস্ট আছে, ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে।
please, who is talking? Who is talking?
এমবি অ্যাপ্লিকেশন আছে,
Sir, it is at Naskar sir, and the mic is open, sir.
Okay. So, what is diagnostic test? These tests can include progress, achievement, and proficiency test, enabling teachers to identify specific weakness or difficulties. What I told you, that teacher is trying to teach, students are not able to follow particular student. He has taken extra classes, still he is not able to do. Then what you will do? Then student has some particular difficulty. How to find out those difficulties? So this diagnostic, through diagnostic test you can do. Diagnostic test, diagnostic evaluation. Actually, first you do the test and then you do the analysis, that is called the diagnostic evaluation. Placement test, already I have told you, a new course to start. Before that, what you do? You do some test and you try to find out the level of students. Suppose you want that 3 sections. So 3 level, 3 groups of students of same standard. So these groups are done, and then so you try to find out that, okay, in the for instruction, in instruction 3 classes, best students will be one section, medium type students in one section, and very weak students in one section, so that the teacher can handle the whole class in a particular manner. Otherwise, what happens, if mixed type of students are there, then there will be difficulty, because when you try to satisfy the good student, the weaker students cannot follow. So for this, you make a test and find out their standard. This is called placement test. Proficiency test. This test measures students' achievement in relation to a specific task which they later required. So proficiency test means, suppose if he is going for particular course or particular program, before that they test whether he is suitable for that test or not, whether he has that proficiency or not. That type of test is called proficiency test. So achievement test and aptitude test. Achievement test means what you have achieved, and aptitude test whether you have the capability in future for a particular type of test or particular type of job. So those tests which is for future purpose you want to identify, those are called aptitude test. And achievement test, what you have already learned, presently what you have already learned, that whether you have learned properly or not, to test that, it is called achievement test. That means the present thing. And aptitude is for future, you test whether in future course you will be suitable for or not. If maybe his aptitude is not proper for that course, particular type of, suppose architecture, a particular student cannot draw or visualization capability is not there, so he should not go for architecture. So that type of test will be done for the student, that is called aptitude test. Achha, now I am going to an important thing, that probably you make some of you may be making question papers. How you make question papers? How you make question papers? What university or board sends you? What university or board sends you for setting question paper? Anybody?
standard format, sir, including the
What is sent there? Standard format? Okay, standard format. That means how many questions have to be done or one old question? One old question and syllabus.
So out of 5 questions, we put one old questions from previous years.
Okay. Okay. So here, that way it is presented. But here I am giving a blueprint how the questions will be distributed from the syllabus. Here it is given. Just that is called blueprint or table of specification. Table I am showing later. Just I am few things I am telling about the blueprint. It is called blueprint or table of specification. A table of specification is a method of linking learning objectives, instructional activities, and assessment. That means learning objectives or syllabus and assessment. That means questions. So it helps a teacher to review the content taught and helps them focus on important concepts. It also aids in setting items means questions, of varying complexity, besides constructing items of different response types. Response types means objective type questions, longer questions, short questions, longer questions, and marks. Then objective also. Objectives are there, particular type, instructional objective. To test that, what are the different questions? How many questions should be there? So the test blueprint ensure that one will not overlook details essential for a good test. So here they tell all chapters are shown and from where how many questions have to be selected. I am going to this directly to the table. Here, see, blueprint. These are the units. Different. This is actually different formats are there. Just I have made one format. It is not sacrosanct that everywhere this is followed or this is the only thing correct. There are different, more complex blueprints are also there. So one simplest way I have done here. Unit means chapters I have given. Here it may be objectives, chapters, different chapters. Okay, so different 1, 2, 3, 4 different chapters. Here I think probably have you heard this? All these knowledge, different knowledge levels of knowledge. Cognitive domain. Do you know cognitive domain? Cognitive domain. Remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, creating. Have you heard, I think?
Yes, sir, it comes under the Bloom taxonomy.
Bloom taxonomy, okay. So this is cognitive domain. Under cognitive domain, these are the, so under this domain, you can make question. How many question, how many marks? How many question, how many marks? Here 5 questions, 1 mark. So chapter wise, you can decide what type of questions you will do. Which chapters are important? Where are more applicable? So there longer questions will be there. This way you can distribute here. So this is this way 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 chapters. See here, actually, so many marks are there. Actually, 70 marks will be there. You have to select. 70 marks will be there. So in question, optional may be there. So 3 hours, total marks, including options 122. Total marks will be answered 70. Okay, so this is one format. There are many other types of formats. So these are the different levels. And normally, we don't go beyond these 3 levels. It should actually, ideally, it should go to the higher levels, but our textbooks are not written that way. We don't teach also in that way. Very few subjects there is scope in analyze and evaluate. So this is called the blueprint. Is it okay? Any question about this? This is one important thing. I am not going into all details here. Just I am showing you the table. And so here, see, okay. There are two types of achievement test. One is teacher-made test, another is standardized test. And types of teacher-made tests are oral test, written test, and performance and practical test. These I already know. What is oral test? A statement gives the needed information verbally from face to face. Oral test, you give a vivacity test for laboratories. It is a test. It is a test written. The test taker gives the answer orally. What is the advantage? Over a, you can cover a wide range, wide area of subject area. Misconceptions can be clarified because face to face you are there, so you can ask the students. Several items on the same topic can be asked. What is the disadvantage? It is very time consuming and there may be bias. Some teachers ask some particular types of questions. Some favorite questions are there. Okay. So if the student does well, okay, he is very happy. It can be difficult to test each student over the entire area of understanding. So this is called oral test. Written test. Written test already you know. Objective type test, short answer type test, and essay test. Objective type test means all fill up the blanks, yes, no, true, false. Okay. Matching the columns are coming under objective test. Short answer means one or two words or very short. Or essay type bigger. Short means one sentence if you answer. Achha, what is performance or practical test? If one test taker creates an answer or a product that demonstrates his knowledge or skill, as in cooking or baking, performance, practical test. It is used for qualification of response. Test can be either objective or subjective. Here are some examination, maybe manipulate simple apparatus, practical test, carry out simple measurements, apply their knowledge or practical methods and procedures to new experiment, convey others clear statement of observed facts, like that. These are called performance or practical test. Okay, there are guidelines to effective evaluation of practical work. Experiments should be designed to test the powers of observation, measurement, and production and introduction. And adequate sampling of both scientific skills and content should be tested in practical work. That means some scientific skill and content also, subject matter also will be tested in the practical work. Test should be such complex level so that it is possible to that means very simple test you give, everybody can do. There is no meaning in the examination you can give this test. Some test which can distinguish between good student and bad student. How to design these tests? Anyway, these are very details of the restriction of the content. When you make a test means question paper. Restriction of the content, definition of the content, selection of the test content. Okay, these are very details. I am not going to that. Test content means, that means in subject area, from from which points you ask the question. In the question paper when you're sitting, from where? That means this step is designing a test to advise a scheme for sampling from domain of behaviors. It is just not possible to measure each and every aspect of every outcome. Further, if we carefully select, once we do measure, we can generalize the total domain with reasonable degree. Okay. So these are table of specification I have told. And number of items, actually, a student can easily guess the correct answer to one item. Item means objective type question on an objective test. For a short answer item, one item may be sufficient, and it is pretty tough to correctly guess the definition. Actually, even in questions also there are some problems. Objective type question, suppose multiple choice question, if true false is question, even in, if suppose student guesses, then 50% chance of correction. If it is 4 option objective test, then 25% of probability is there to make it correct. So that's why longer tests are more valid, we call longer essay type tests. Earlier, all competitive tests were longer tests. But problem is evaluation. Teachers have to evaluate, and longer test, teachers take the answer keys of thousands of lakhs of students. They check it, and essay test, actually essay type test difficult to mark. Marking is not reliable, and it depends on the teacher's biasness or mood and all these things. That's why now all tests have become objective type tests, all competitive exams, because by machine they can do. And number of items, so objective type also, if you test properly, then number of questions for each objective, you have to test number of items. So these are the problems with that. Types of items already I told, objective type item, essay type item. Types of items, I think there is not much time. Item sufficiency means how many questions you will be sufficient. Now, what happens? You have a time limit is there. Suppose if you think, if that any particular subject, if it is thought that, okay, this 3-hour evaluation is not sufficient, then 2 papers have to be done. Two examinations have to be done, divided, because students have also depends on the age and their capability, how long they will be able to sit for examination. Suppose small children, you cannot sit them for longer time for examination, but in higher level you can do. So how many questions will be there? You have to consider so many things. And communication in the question, all the language should be proper so that student can understand properly. All instruction, directions should be given, how to answer everything. Okay, so this is the thing I wanted to tell you. Now, if you have any question, you can ask. Any question?
Sir, what is the major difference between the assessment and the evaluation?
Assessment is focus is on process, whether the students are learning or not, what is my defect in teaching, all these things. And evaluation is at the end, what the students are supposed to learn, they have learned on it, learning is done or not. That is the case. So this is a one time, but assessment
Sir,
is continuous.
these two come under the formal education, means we during
Yes, yes.
during education, student must also know about the requirement of the society and the for the state and for the country also.
Now that is
And this type of evaluation doesn't come under this evaluation.
that depends on your curriculum.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Yeah,
That
thank you.
depends on your curriculum.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Any other question? Okay.
Hello.
স্যার আমি আছি শেষ করে আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে so thank you very much sir. Thank you very much for your valuable time you have shared with us and for providing that informative information to all the participants. So participant, before we conclude, do you have any further question? I think we do not have any questions. So with this, we can conclude the morning session. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So participant, you can leave and you can join in the afternoon session as well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Attendance link for this session.
Attendance link for the session will be given in the afternoon.
Okay, sir.
No,
Thank
no,
you.
it is enabled. Link is
It
already
is.
given in the website. Same link they have to click.
Okay,
If
sir.
they are
Okay, sir.
attending regularly, then they know this.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Sir, could we leave the meeting? Sir, could I leave the meeting?
Yes, please.